Hey guys, and welcome back to another book video with your two favorite book nerds, Amy
and Kelly.
Today we're doing our April reading wrap-up.
April.
It's Cinco de Mayo when we're filming this, so we're gonna be snagging on some chips and queso, and we got some sangria, mocktail, sangrias.
If you missed our live stream last week, go check that out because we partied it up.
We had a whole celebration.
Yeah. So this is the aftermath because obviously we're filming this right back to back, but a week apart for y'all. But you can go watch us do our piñata whacking.
Yeah, that was an experience. Didn't really think about where we could hang a piñata in this room, so we made do. It worked out.
We did.
Kind of.
We did. We probably could have taken the show on the road and gone outside or something, but
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Next time.
Whatever. We got the loot no matter what.
Exactly.
So
yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Exactly.
But alrighty, well, let's just get into our April reading then.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. I don't remember who went first last time. So, do you want to just lead, or do you want me to go first? Since it'll be real fast. Be like Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Oh, why don't you go ahead?
Mm-hmm.
You go right ahead.
All right. So, in April, the streak was broken, and I only read one book instead of 11.
Not just broken, like smashed and buried.
I don't know what happened, y'all. I really don't. I think maybe I just got a little burnt out with having read so many books in 3 months. Because that's not normal for me to read 11 books.
No.
That's not normal. And to have it happen 3 months in a row, I think I needed a break. Like, I wanted to read, but I also didn't want to. Like, you know how that is? Like,
yeah, yes, I know.
My urge to just, want to rather just lay in bed and watch some trash reality TV instead of picking up a book that I know I'm not going to be able to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was my April. So
yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I want to read, but I don't know what to read. I don't know what I want to read.
Yeah. I just knew that I wasn't going to be able to focus on a book.
It happens.
It happens, so.
It happens.
It's okay. I'm thinking May is going to be a better month because I've already read one book in May.
Mm-hmm.
I know, our book club book sweet.
Book club book.
We got that done, and I've done a lot of book shopping lately, so
have you now?
Yeah, I have.
Well.
A little retail therapy for all of life's great things that are happening right now. So financially irresponsible is me. But yes, that was just a long-winded thing. I read one book in April, and it was The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. I gave it 3 stars for an average rating of 3 stars for the month of April.
And how many pages did you read?
Oh gosh. I don't know.
I let her do the calculations real quick, you know.
Yep.
Some tough numbers here.
Yep. I read a total of 381 pages for an average book length of 381 pages. Crushing it.
There you go. I read 8 books. Yay. So I listened to American Gods by Neil Gaiman, which was the 10th anniversary edition. You will get to that. It was long.
Oh no.
I read The Beautiful Ones by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I listened to The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I read The Last Quintista by Donna Barba Higuera. And then I had 4 books that I read on my Kindle. They were all in the same series by Deborah Wild. The first one was called Throwing Shade, A Shade Too Far, A Shade of Myself, and Made in the Shade. Okay, so I was like, where is it? It's on there. So 8 books. Total pages were 3,043 for an average of 380, and an average star rating 3.5.
Okay.
I'll give you the stars when we go.
What was your longest book?
My longest book was, well, okay, so it was American Gods. because the 10th anniversary edition had about 150 more pages. So it was 635 pages.
Dear God.
I guess not 150, at least 100 more pages. My shortest book was The Beautiful Ones at 320, and The Last Quintista, also at 320.
Okay, that's kind of rare. When you
Yeah.
have two books that
Two books the same length.
Crazy.
Yes.
For authors, I had one book from T. Kingfisher, who is a repeat author for me. Have read before, will read again.
So I had two authors that were new to me. That was Donna Barba Higuera and Deborah Wild. And then I read 4 books by Deborah Wild. Then I had Neil Gaiman, Sylvia Moreno Garcia, and N.K. Jemisin that I've read from before multiple times, will definitely continue to read from. American Gods was actually a reread too, but I listened to it. Donna Barba Higuera. I don't know. I liked this book, but I think she mainly writes middle grade, because this is a middle grade book. And I liked it well enough, but I'm not sure. I liked the premise of this book. So, I mean, she's a very good writer. If she has another one that I think sounds interesting, sure I will. Deborah Wild. Yes, I will. But there's a qualifier on that, so.
Genres.
Genres.
I had one horror book.
Wow, like all from one genre.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All horror.
Well, you were on a roll.
Yeah.
You're just on the horror roll.
Yep.
Just on the horror train.
Horrifying.
I had 1 science fiction, 1 fantasy, 4 paranormal women's fiction. Not really a genre, but that's how they classify it. And 2 magical realism. Also not really a genre, but there you go. Whatever.
Alright, well,
Okay.
on to books.
Books.
I'm not going to talk about this one because we talked about it in depth for our book club last month. That was when it was, last month, I do believe.
Last month.
Pretty much the premise of this book is this girl, Mouse, goes to, or her grandmother passes away, and so she goes to, or is it her grandfather? Grandmother passes away, and so she goes to her house because she's going to clean it out and get it ready to sell and all of that, and she ends up uncovering a lot of secrets and gets involved with some really spooky shit. Unintentionally. So that's pretty much it. It has definitely some really spooky scenes in it. Some scenes that make me never want to go into the woods ever. Yeah, it was just kind of meh. I just needed a little bit more from it in general, but not, I mean, I'm not gonna ever say no to a T. Kingfisher, so.
Yeah. They're always enjoyable.
Yeah.
No matter what. Okay, so I will start with the 2 books in the TBR that I was supposed to read. Supposed to read 4.
Yeah, I was supposed to read 2. I didn't get to either one.
So I did not read Horror Store because I was supposed to borrow it from you.
Well,
we never saw each other last month.
That's true.
And I was also supposed to read A Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross. I did not get to either of those. The 2 that I did get to, one is The Last Quintista. That cover is like absolutely gorgeous. And what is really cool.
Oh, I love a good, like, hardcover design.
Yeah.
Is that
The actual cover.
Oh, that is pretty.
Yeah, it really is. So, in this book, Petra is a approximately 13-year-old girl, and they're living on Earth, and the Earth is about to be destroyed by a comet. And the thing about with the snake on there is that Petra's grandmother is a storyteller, a quintista. And the story is that, like, Halley's Comet is actually what it gets veered off. It's explained in here why it is, but it basically veers off course and is drawn in by the Earth's gravitational pull and collides with the Earth. But the snake on the inner cover is a story that her grandmother tells her about Halley's Comet being a sky snake, and it leaves Mother Earth because it wants to go be with the Father Sun, but then the Father Sun is too bright, too hot, and this Earth snake is blinded, and so it tries to come back to find its mother, and it would just continually go out that until
That's so sad.
it finds its way home. And that's the Halley's Comet. But as you can tell, stories play a big part in this book. Not big enough as far as I'm concerned. I think it needed to be played up a little bit more. But Petra really wants to be a storyteller like her grandmother. But of course, in the middle of all this, Earth is getting ready to be destroyed. And so there are these 3 ships that take off and to, repopulate. They already have a planet that they know of that they're going to, but it's going to take 400 years to get to this planet. And of course, so they're all put to sleep. And then there's also a group of people that, for, I guess, passage off Earth, they volunteered to be monitors. So they would live on the ship and monitor all of the people who are sleeping and keep things going. And so they would, marry and have children, and generationally would keep this ship going, or these ships. One ship was destroyed before it left Earth. And it happened to be the ship that had all of the political leaders on it. So like the president. Okay, so you can tell right away that why this is like a middle grade book, because anybody would know that they've never put the president and the vice president on the same ship.
True.
But this is a middle grade book and we don't care about stuff like that. So anyway, that's wiped out. And so this group called the Collective decides that this is their time. They believe that the only way to have world peace and end nasty things like race is if everyone is the same. And that is like communism kind of thing, but also like down to the way they look. Like everybody should dress the same, everybody, all this stuff. And I can't remember. So anyway, right before they are put to sleep, they have these implants put in so that they can basically be read, like textbooks and things, or I don't know if it's read, or it's basically like downloading it into their brain. So when they wake up in 400 years, they'll have this massive body of knowledge. So one of the things that Petra, of course, wanted was to be read stories and things like that, but her parents wanted her to be scientists, so they picked all this other stuff. So Petra's monitor, Ben, ends up including some of his own, they have something to call it, but some of his own recordings into her so she can hear the stories and stuff like that. Then at one point, I don't know how, it's probably like 50 or so years later, Petra wakes up, or starting to wake up, and enough to hear this scuffle. And Ben is an old man at this point, and there is this scuffle about, he is going to be purged, and he's like, we can't do without the stories. And so the Collective has sort of taken over, and Ben obviously doesn't. Anyway, Petra goes back to sleep. The next time that she wakes up is like 400 years later, and the Collective has fully taken over to the point where they have genetically modified themselves through breeding they all look exactly alike, which is weird. It's very strange. But the Collective is viewing these people that they're waking up as they're going to use them as tools because they have all of this knowledge and all of these specialties and things. But the Collective also basically tried to wipe their memories. And Petra's did not work because Ben did something before he was purged. So anybody who did not get their memories wiped, they would purge them if they didn't come back. Basically as like a zombie, like kind of thing. So Petra does not. So she has to act like she does while she's trying to find her family, her mom and her dad and her little brother. And she's trying to, there's 4 other kids that wake up at the same time she does. And she's trying to, she tells them stories and she's trying to wake up their memories and see if they can come back. And there's this child of the collective that she's trying to get him to show her where things are at. And so she's basically just trying to find her way to get away from the collective and not be purged.
That's fair.
So it's about, that's a long description, but it's about the importance of our history and our past, and that you know, even, you know, looking the same, we can't be color blind. We have to be, you know, color open. We have to accept our heritages. All of our differences are what makes us beautiful. And so it's a lot about that, and it's a lot about being who it is you want to be and accepting who you are. And there's some found family, of course, to this, and there's some action, and there's some Petra sneaking around and not getting caught and trying to fool the collective, and it's really good. I think that for me reading it, I gave it 4 stars. It just, because it's a middle grade book, it just didn't go deep enough for me.
Sorry, it got spicy.
I think I would have loved more. There were some things definitely that were glossed over. There were some things that it was a pretty big stretch to think, you know, that it would have happened that way, but it was still really good, really beautifully written, and some of the stories were just pretty fun too. So, okay, I'm gonna get shorter now because that was really long. So the other one that I read was The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, and this is a story about New York City coming to life. So in this alternate world, cities, when they have enough people, when they have enough of a history, they come to life. There's enough oomph there that they come to life. Anyway, it can only come to life through avatars, though. So people who the city, they're basically the representatives of the city, but they can hear the city in their head, right? And so there, in this book, we start with one who is like the avatar for the whole city. And they talk a lot about the city as being born. So this person is like the midwife for the city being born. Anyway, it's such a big kind of powerful thing, it knocks them out. Then we have an avatar for Manhattan, for the Bronx, for Brooklyn, for Queens and Staten Island. So the 5 boroughs of New York. And each one of those are like, they can hear and they can feel their own borough. And then together, they have to work together. There's, of course, a reason, too, that or there's not a reason, but there's an enemy that wants cities not to become alive. And so they try and stop it, and they're trying to eliminate the avatars so that the city can't be brought fully to life. And of course, they're looking for the one person that is the avatar for the city as a whole. And so all of the other 5 have to find each other and work together to defeat the enemy and find the one that represents them all. So it's really good. N.K. Jemisin just never disappoints. I mean, honestly, she's so good, so imaginative, and such a good writer. And I listened to this, and the narrator was amazing. She did accents, but did them so well. She didn't just change like an accent, she would change the way someone talked. Like the words they use that are, I mean, obviously she's reading, not the words they use, but just, I don't know. Just listen. I would so listen to this book. It made it just really good. So there was a lot of commentary on racism in here, and you know, multicultural kind of things, which is good, and it was very gritty, and it was a bit dark, and so of course this enemy was using a lot of racial type things. Like they would this enemy would sometimes need to inhabit other people in order to do their thing, and it would always find, somebody who was racist or bigoted or something like that, to find it. So it was often fairly dark. I accept all that. Absolutely. I know that's the way it is. But it was like, so I don't want to spoil anything. So it was just like everybody, though. Like every white person in the book was racist or bigoted. Mm. And I'm sure, okay, but everybody, just like everybody. And then there was one fairly major character that I think would have been good if that person had a redemption arc, because they were obviously supposed to be supportive, and the group tried. I'm trying to be really vague here. So, I mean, this character was a main character and a major part, and I think it could have done well with bringing that character back around to show at least some kind of redemption, or how it could happen, how they could bring her back around. But it wasn't. And so I think, I don't know, it got a little much. And I think that, like, the majority of the characters, like, absolutely the majority of them, were people of color of some form or another. And so I get the whole kind of, this is what it's like when you read a book you like that you're not in. Someone you can relate to is not in. And I get the point of that. I really do. But I think having basically every white person that shows up being racist or bigoted, I don't like anything that's done to an extreme. I don't like feminist books where every man that shows up is bad. That was probably one thing I just didn't care for. But other than that, it was fine. There was a couple things I think too that were glossed over that I think could have done with a little more explanation, even though this book was like almost 500 pages. But it was okay. It was good. I gave it 4 stars. I said I was going to, like, speed up. Okay. American Gods, which I listened to. It was a full cast audiobook. It was so good. I love full casts. But it was a reread for me. I still like it. So Shadow is getting out of prison and finds out that his wife has been killed. And so all of his plans for after he gets out of jail are kind of just blown to hell. And he meets up with Mr. Wednesday, who seems to know more than he should about Shadow, and offers Shadow a job, kind of being his chauffeur, his companion, his protector, his bodyguard, this kind of thing. And slowly Shadow comes to understand that these are all gods that they're dealing with, and there's kind of a war going on. So it's really good. The ending, still kind of meh for me, but it's all right. I gave it 4 stars, I think, again, because I listened to the 10th anniversary edition of it, which includes, like, everything he cut out of the first, like, when he first published it, the editor sent it back and said, look, you got to cut this down. So they went back and for the 10th anniversary edition, put everything back. Which was okay, but there's a lot of meandering that goes along with that, which, it's Neil Gaiman meandering, so it's not like it's bad, but it's definitely fluffier. And so I'm not sure. It just was too fluffy, kind of, for me. And again, that ending is still a little meh. But the last one that I have a physical copy of is The Beautiful Ones by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, and we just did our live discussion on that, so you can go watch that and see it. But basically it's about Antonina Nina, who is going to the city to have her grand season come out to society and all of this, and the person that she falls in love with is in love with someone else, and it's all very Bridgerton. Okay, then I read 4 books, Kindle books, by Deborah Wilde. And these are in a category of books that's called paranormal women's fiction. And generally this category of books features women who are middle-aged or older. They are obviously more experienced, maybe a little wiser, but some of them are going through major life changes, like maybe divorce or death of a spouse. Generally, all of them are going through menopause, or at least hitting menopause. So a lot of things about dealing with life's changes and things like that. So a lot of these paranormal books, what happens is that as the woman is going through these life changes, suddenly magic hits of some sort or another. So in this particular series by Deborah Wilde, the first one was called Throwing Shade, and then I think the second was Made in the Shade, A Shade Too Far, and A Shade of Myself. But the woman in this book, Miriam, has shadow magic, so that's why shade is in everything. But she has always had it, but because of reasons in her past, she quit using her magic for a while, and now because of reasons, she's having to take it back up again. So she is divorced. She has a daughter. She is 40-ish years old. Again, going into menopause. But because she hasn't used her magic for so long, she kind of has to rediscover this and rediscover the whole magical world and all that. And they're good. They're fun. I will say probably the first 3 I had fun with. They're not anything deep. They're very kind of beach ready, airplane ready kind of things, but they're fun. There's a certain humor that goes along with having an older woman as your main character. Generally, in these books and in the category in general, they're pretty sassy. Like, you ain't gonna take shit off nobody because I'm too old for this crap. I don't have to deal with this anymore, kind of thing. And so there's a certain humor that goes along with that appeals to me.
I don't know why.
I don't know why.
You just turned 21 in March.
I did.
So.
I'm still way too young for these books. But you know, but anyway, there's a certain humor. And again, I like main characters that are competent, that are smarter, that even if they don't exactly know what they're doing, they're smart about how they go about doing it, right? And that's pretty much a hallmark of these books. And there's this secret of Miriam's past about why she put her magic down for a while. And so that's kind of an overarching plot through the whole books, is her figuring out stuff like that. Okay, so, I mean, there's kind of a mystery component involved in these. So there's something like murder mysteries kind of sometimes. I don't know. It just all involves the magic world. And there's like vampires and demons and werewolves and all this jazz in them. They're fun. I'm reading book 5 right now. But by the end of book 4, the humor was a one-note humor. And it's getting a bit old. Mm-hmm. And Miriam she's turning into a bit of a Mary Sue. Like, she doesn't do anything wrong. You know, everything always turns out. She just has to sit down and talk with somebody, and then it's all good. And, I don't know, it's getting a little old. So I'm about halfway through the 5th book, and I may stop there. I'm not sure. I don't care about Miriam's past. I really don't. About her figuring out what the whole mystery behind her parents was, and whatever. The characters are just, they're not moving anywhere. They're not changing much. The main male lead is kind of the same way. I mean, you really don't see much growth from him. Probably the character that's changed the most is Miriam's ex-husband, which they got a divorce when he decided that he was going to admit he was gay. So And they share, like, they bought this duplex, so they live on each side of the duplex, and they did that because with their daughter, that way she wouldn't have to, you know, all she had to do was go next door to Dad's house for their week of switching for custody and stuff. So
awkward.
And they're very good friends, and, you know, there's a very big component in this that is therapy positive. So they're always talking about therapy and finding a therapist, going to therapy. Which again, I get it already, okay? We don't have to mention it every other second. So yeah, it's starting to grate on me just a little bit. But the other thing that is really interesting in this is Miriam is Jewish, and so there is a very strong component of Jewish folklore in here. Like, one of the other main characters is a golem, which is just really interesting to me. So that alone may keep me reading on them. I'm not sure. Maybe. We'll see how much I like Miriam by the end of this 5th book. Now, there's like 8 books in this series. But the reason I said that, I mean, I'm obviously still reading Deborah Wild, but she has written like, I don't know, 3-4 other series. And so I might try another one just to see. But that tends to happen. Like, I've read other series of this paranormal women's fiction, and about the 3rd book, it just starts to be a one-note wonder. And I'm like, God, we got to move on from here or end the series already. Mm-hmm. Start over with somebody else. So I don't know. We'll see. I might check out something else from her. But the main male guy is a werewolf named Laurent, and he has a kitten named Boo.
Aww.
He's a kitten named Boo.
I would read just so that I could read about Boo.
Boo. Little Boo.
So cute.
Yep. Aww. So anyway, that's it. That's all I got. That's it.
Yeah, that's all I got too. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. But
here's to a better month in May.
Cheers to that, man.
Speaking of May.
Oh yeah.
This is our May book club, so be reading with us. The Thursday Murder Club.
It's my pick.
By Richard Osman. It's Amy's pick.
Ooh, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a lighthearted, fun little mystery.
Let's hope so.
I hope so. That's right.
Let's hope so.
Fingers crossed.
That will be the 2nd Sunday in June instead of the 1st Sunday in June this time.
Yes. Let us know in the comments what books you read in April, how your April reading went. Did you read all the books you wanted to? What are your reading plans for May? All of that fun jazz. Mm-hmm. Also, if you liked watching this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, go on down below the video, hit that little red subscribe button, join the Everyday Adventure family so you can see our beautiful faces every Sunday with book videos. Hopefully by the time, I'm assuming when this video is out, that means that my computer has been fixed. So we will be back on track with all of our schedules and things like that. So every Sunday you'll see us once again. And also be sure to go and join channel memberships for additional videos and content, and also follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Everyday Epic Book Club for even more content.
And speaking of more content, be sure and check out the rest of Amy's channel where you can see non-book content like home decor and home renovations and cleaning and organizing and travel and fashion and kitties. And then you can go to also look at her blog, which has articles, some of which go along with the videos, some on their own, like Watch It Wednesdays, where she reviews Netflix shows, and Foodie Fridays, where she goes out to eat. So you can get her reviews on the restaurants that she visits to eat. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Wow. You would think this was not emotive.
Right? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I'm Amy.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are
the Everyday Epic.
See y'all in the next one.
Bye.